The Borough of Raritan Council meeting for November the 24th is called to order. This meeting was called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Notices of this meeting were sent to the Courier News and the Star Ledger on January 6, 2015. In addition, copies of notices were posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, on the Raritan Borough website, and filed in the office of the Borough Clerk. Notices on the bulletin board have remained continuously posted. Proper notice having been given, the Borough Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cara.
Here.
Councilman Fooey.
Here.
Councilwoman Gara.
Here.
Councilman Giroldi.
Here.
Council President LaBelle.
Here.
Councilman Sevillian.
Please stand for the invocation of the flag salute led by Councilwoman Cara.
Bow down your heads. Please enlighten our minds to know truth. Direct our wills to act in good judgment so that we know what we do and what we speak will be beneficial to our citizens, for our government, for our happiness, and for our honor and glory. Bless us one and all. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. I'd like to take a moment of silence for the victims and families of the Paris attacks. Our hearts goes out to them. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. All right, our first order of business this evening is Resolution 2015-11-120, executive session. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7, commonly known as the Sunshine Law, requires that the Borough Council meetings be open to the public except for the discussion of certain subjects. And whereas the Sunshine Law requires that a closed session be authorized by resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Raritan, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, that the following portion of this meeting shall be closed to the public, and the meeting shall be resumed at the end of the closed session. Be it further resolved that the subjects to be discussed and the time of public release of the minutes of the closed session are indicated below. The subject matter is 1, administrative personnel, 2, probationary police officer, 3, attorney-client privilege. Time when and the circumstances under which the subject matter can be disclosed is upon the authorization of the borough attorney. There's someone that would like to move this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Garris, second by the council president. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cara.
Yes.
Councilman Fooey.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gara.
Yes.
Councilman Giroldi.
Yep.
Council President LaBelle.
Aye.
Okay. All right, we are back in public session. You've got something you want to...
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a hold harmless with Durling Farms for Christmas tree lighting at Quick Check.
Second that?
Motion made by the council president, second by Mrs. Gara. Roll call, please, Ann.
Councilwoman Cara.
Yes.
Councilman Fooey.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gara.
Yes.
Councilman Giroldi.
Yes.
Council President LaBelle.
Aye.
All right, with us this evening is New Jersey Water Supply Authority, who is going to do a presentation for us on the rain garden rebate program and also on the rain barrel.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll try to make this brief. I know you're busy tonight. So I think I've met most of you, but not all of you, so I'm going to give a quick introduction of what we do, why we're in business. We're the New Jersey Water Supply Authority. We are not New Jersey American Water. We don't sell you water. We're an instrumentality of the state of New Jersey, and what we do is our charge is to ensure there's enough water in the Raritan River, lower down in the river, so that folks in Brunswick and here have enough water to drink. And we do that through regulating the flow of the river through Round Valley and Spruce Run primarily, but we also operate the DNR Canal for water purposes. So our job is to deliver a raw product to the folks who then process it and sell it to the customers. Our particular division is charged with making sure that water is as clean as it can be before it gets to the processors. So we go around encouraging practices that help maintain a water quality in the river. We're the good guys. We don't regulate anything, we don't enforce anything, so we're never the boogeyman, we never come in with a black hat, we're always the good guys. Doesn't cost us anything, it doesn't cost you anything for us to be here. And as a matter of fact, the two programs we're going to be talking about tonight, we come with a bag of cash, because we want to give your residents rebates if they do some of these programs. So, let me see here.
Can we borrow my glasses?
I can see perfectly. So the reason we're so interested in here, and we've been working in this area of the state for about 6 years pretty intensely, is because our primary customer, New Jersey American Water, is just downstream from here. So as the better we can make the water quality in this area before it gets to the plant, the better off it is getting to the plant. The cheaper it is to process, the cheaper it is for the consumer. And we're here tonight to talk about two programs, the Rain Barrel Rebate and the Rain Garden Rebate Program. We've been, again, running both, one for about 6 years now, and one for about 3. Let me give you some numbers. The Rain Garden Program has resulted in about 100 participants in the 3 towns in this immediate area, Somerville, Raritan, Bridgewater. From those 100 people, we've had 54 gardens designed. What the program provides for is free landscape architect services out of Rutgers. So you go through an information session at Duke Garden for an hour or thereabouts one day. You sign up if you're interested in the program to sit with a landscape architect to go over the details of your property. They design you a little garden. You take it home, you build the garden, they come and check it, and they issue you a Visa card. Depending on how big the garden is, depends on how much you get. We'll offer as much as $450 for a 150 square foot garden. 150 square feet is a little bit smaller than your normal parking stall at the mall parking lot.
$450.
$450, yeah.
$3 per square
$3
foot.
a square foot. But they can be very small. You mentioned you had an icing problem. A lot of people do this. They divert their downspout down the driveway into a newly created rain garden. It's not much more than maybe a 6x8 landscaped feature that you really wouldn't know it's anything other than a flower bed. But the function of it, it takes that stormwater from your gutter, holds it for a day or so, and gradually soaks it into the ground. Admittedly, your soils in this area aren't the best.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful clay. If it's too dry, it's like concrete. If it's too wet, it's like peanut butter. It's hard to work with. But you augment the soil, and the landscape architects give you all the details of that. How
Do
much
they
sand to put in.
supply the plants also, or
They
they just give you advice on which plants to
They
get?
give you advice on what plants to buy, that's right. And you can actually make money off this. If you're enterprising and get a good deal on plants, we don't care how much you spend, as long as it's functional and it's designed to, or built to the design specifications. And don't let that intimidate you, design specifications, it's really not that, it's not engineered type plans. This is kind of backyard gardening affair. You can actually make money off of these things if you get your plants cheap, if you do the work yourself. A lot of people do. A lot of people can't do it, but a lot of people do it. $3 a square foot is $3 a square foot. Now you can also spend more than $3 a square foot. That's up to you. But we'll offer you $3 a foot as a rebate for that program.
You can look at there's pictures that we passed out, and the pictures on here show a whole bunch of the rain gardens that have been installed.
And it doesn't have to be a house. It could be a local business, it could be a church, school property. We tried to work with your library, desperately
Right.
tried, and it was a difficult site. It was just, yeah, it was just too small. And they needed some help to try to decrease their impervious surface for permanent purposes. And yeah, and we just couldn't find a way to make it work. But that's an exception. Most places you can find a little piece of ground that this will work. On the rain barrels, we've been doing that a little longer. One of our best workshops was in the borough. It was one of our first. I think it was the second one we did. Very well attended. Overall, in the 3 communities, we've done over 190 barrels in those workshops. We're not doing workshops anymore, unfortunately, but we are doing rebates. But those workshops produced 190 barrels, 25 of them in Raritan. The rebates we started issuing 3 years ago, I think it was. We've done 67 of those on 47 properties. only 2 barrels in Raritan. So somehow we've got to find a way to get the message out. We do your typical media blast. It's posted on the town's website. Probably the most effective way, at least the feedback we've gotten from the folks that have done it, is the town website's a good source, and neighbor to neighbor. People looking over the fence, say, what's that, where's it? Oh, yeah, I got $50 for this. So for a up to 70-gallon barrel, it's $50.
40 to 70 gallons, you can get $50 rebate, and above 70 gallons would be a $100 rebate.
And you can do two, you can do up to $200 in rebates, you can do 2 55-gallon jobbies and get a typical barrel at a big box store. I would recommend first trying Agway, and he used to sell them. I don't know whether he does anymore or not, but your typical big box store grain barrel is probably going to go anywhere from 80 to, well, there's real fancy ones for $300, but normally they're about $100. So essentially, we're giving you half the money back. That program we run in cooperation with the Regional Center Partnership, and they'll cut the applicant a check. All they have to do is show us a receipt. We make sure the barrel's hooked up and functional, and Regional Center Partnership will cut a check. So we do this now just to kind of put it in the back of your head. We'll make our media blitz probably in March. People don't start thinking about rain barrels and rain gardens until the snow's gone. Last year we started sweating because we were really, I mean, the snow was just here forever. And finally it broke loose and everybody was ready to go. But we'll do our media blitz and remind your webmasters and whatnot to get things up and going somewhere around March. But that's really all we came for, just to remind you who we are, what we're doing, and we've got some programs that might be able to help your residents and help us get the word out.
Excellent, thank you.
Any questions?
Actually, I got a question, it's a little off topic here, but you mentioned Round Valley and Spruce Run.
Yeah.
Now, you regulate the water coming out of the 2 reservoirs? Now, I was just up at Spruce Run the last couple weekends, and that is low,
Really?
low.
Really low. We have, by law, we have to maintain what they call a passing flow at various points in the Raritan River. And we do that by opening up the valves in Spruce Run first. Round Valley is a secondary source of water. It's a cleaner source, but it's the most expensive source because there's no natural drainage into Round Valley. We have to pump from the river up into Round Valley and hold it there until it's ready to be released. So we only release from Round Valley when we absolutely have to.
And you can release from Round Valley, because I've heard rumors that you cannot.
We can, no, we can. Actually, we can release 2 ways in Round Valley. We can release back where we pump out in the river, and our primary release is over into the Rockaway.
Rockaway River Creek,
Yeah, which comes down the other way. But yeah, we can release 2 ways.
But whenever you release, you have to pump back in.
Eventually, we've got to pump back in, that's right, and that's expensive.
Yeah, I've never seen Round Valley as low as it was this year.
Yeah.
Never seen it
Yeah.
that low.
The floating dock was on dry land.
And Spruce Run's even scarier, if you've seen that. You've seen
Well,
it.
we've been hunting over there, and you can walk halfway
Yeah.
into the reservoir now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, another consideration we have to have is during the summer, also by law, the boaters, they must be a strong lobbying group because they got Trenton to pass a law that says we have to take out of Round Valley when Spruce Run gets so far down during boating season.
Okay.
Now, there are some safeguards. I mean, public health is number 1 and passing flows is number 2. Boating is number 3, I guess. But yeah, we have to consider the boating crew out there too. But
And are you currently putting water back into Spruce Run?
well, Spruce Run's a natural
It's stream
drainage.
flow.
So
Walkway and.
we're hoping for
But
rain.
you're not letting
every,
water
every
out.
storm that comes in from Ohio, we're saying, yes, hit us, please.
So, but you're not letting water out still, is what I guess what I should ask.
We're not letting that much out. There's a certain amount that has to go out, but it's filling now. It's been filling since the last couple of raindrops we got last week. Yeah, it's been slowly filling.
That was just for my own personal curiosity, thank you.
No, it's a good question.
You have a question?
Just like to point something out. See, I'm the town engineer.
I remember.
And the picture, second row from the bottom, one over from the right side, that's a very good example. We ran into that situation out on either Southwick or Victoria, I forget which, where a homeowner installed a rain garden. She said she had support from the county, maybe it was from you. I didn't know where it came from. But that was installed, and the borough came along with a project where we were putting sidewalks in. So we ran into the situation. People don't realize all the time that the municipal right-of-way extends roughly 10 feet behind the curb line.
Right.
So she thought she was putting in the proper place. So we had to take the time and expense to relocate her rain garden. Second issue there is if the grade is sloping toward the road, and with the type of soils we have in Raritan, generally that water is going to wind up underneath the curb, underneath the road, and could cause a problem. So if we do develop a program, go forward, we have to get some kind of coordination. If you're going to be on municipal property, we're going to have to know about and work around it accordingly.
Absolutely. I'll make a note of it and make sure that Rutgers is really doing the rain garden program.
Dr. Abutra, yeah,
Abrupta, yeah.
I know him.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should really maybe take that picture out.
Is that the one, or
Yeah,
is that just
that
an
may
example?
be it, and you can see the situation is directly behind the curb.
Yeah.
And the water that's infiltrating that's going no place else but right underneath the roadway and could cause a problem.
Thank you.
Might want to mention your website. You have a lot of information on the website, raritanbasin.org.
Yes,
There
sir.
it is, both our website and Rutgers Water Resources page website, which I don't know the website off the top of my head, but it's Rutgers Water Resources. You're gonna, if you Google that, you're gonna get their website. And it's on the town website too.
Yes, it is.
There's links through the town website.
And I think there may be some on the regional center also.
There is some on the regional center, that's right.
Very good, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday.
You do the same, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we come to the portion of public comment. Anyone wishing to speak? I see no one, so we'll close the first portion of public comment. We have the approval of 2 sets of minutes. First, both of them for October 27th. One is the executive session minutes. Someone like to move that?
Make a motion?
Motion made by Mrs. Karas, second by the council president. Any additions or corrections? So call vote.
Councilwoman Cara,
Yes.
Councilman Fooey,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gara,
Yes.
Councilman Giraldi.
Yes.
Council President LaBelle.
Aye.
And the second set are the regular minutes from the October 27th meeting. Would someone like to move those?
So moved?
Motion made by Mrs. Gara,
Second.
second by Mr. Fooey. Any additions or corrections? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cara,
Yes.
Councilman Fooey,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gara,
Yes.
Councilman Giraldi.
Yes.
Council President LaBelle.
Aye.
Okay, we have a resolution, which is 2015-11-121, railroad monthly parking refunds. There are 2 of them, each in the amount of $40.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by the council president,
Second?
second by Mrs. Gara. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cara,
Yes.
Councilman Fooey,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gara,
Yes.
Councilman Giraldi.
Yes.
Council President LaBelle.
Aye.
All right, now we have the bills list. Be it resolved that claims in the amount of $2,026,385.90 have been listed on the bill list for the period of October 26th through November 20th, and recorded in the files of the Borough Hall are hereby approved to be paid.
Make a motion?
Motion made by Mrs. Kara,
Second?
second by Mrs. Gara. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cara,
Yes.
Councilman Fooey.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gara.
Yes.
Councilman Giraldi.
Yes.
Council President LaBelle.
I'll abstain.
Okay, we have 2 purchase orders. The first one is administration, it's licensed computer software upgrades for construction, property maintenance, and fire prevention to spatial data logic in the amount of $6,750.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you, and then the certification of funds is attached. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cara,
Yes.
Councilman Fooey.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gara.
Yes.
Councilman Giraldi.
Yes.
Council President LaBelle.
Aye.
And the next one is to, again, for administration, a Blue 28 pump station water pump repair, water shower in the amount of $2,309.95.
Make that motion.
Motion made by the council president,
Second?
second by Mrs. Gara.
So moved then.
Councilwoman Cara,
Yes.
Councilman Fooey,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gara,
Yes.
Councilman Giraldi,
Yes.
Council President LaBelle.
Aye.
Okay, we have committee and liaison reports. Council President, we'll start with you.
I got it somewhere. Oh, here we go. DPW, I got the list here, basically same thing, but they included leaves this week. They've been working, this month, they've been working hard on leaves. And last month's garbage was 47.34 tons of bulk. And garbage was 188.91 tons of non-bulk. So it seems like the numbers have been going up. Be interesting to see what the recycling numbers are. I don't know if they're going down with the garbage going up, but I'll pass that on to Zach to look into for the next council. As far as EDC, the meet and greet is scheduled and is going on, and that's going to be at Nick's Pub on Somerset Street here on the 8th, and it's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. And again, that's on the 8th of December. And Santa is coming to Raritan again, December 6th at 2 p.m. So it should be an exciting day. We'd like to see you all there.
Here, not at, put that here.
It's going to be here at Borough Hall, yes. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Bruce.
I don't have anything, Mayor. I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and a safe one if they're traveling.
Senior citizens, on Wednesday, December 9th, senior citizen meeting in the municipal building, community room from 12 to 1. Residents are encouraged to drop off any unused or expired medication. Both prescription and non-prescription medication can be dropped off. Only household medication will be accepted, and only solid materials such as pills or capsules will be accepted. Additional information on this medication drop can be located on the borough website. Municipal Land Use Board. Last month, the Land Use Board approved an application for the Raritan Valley Professional Center on Route 28, the Reynolds Building and the Henderson Building. This is going to be very positive for the residents in the neighborhood since the parking lots will be merging. The traffic will be realigned to utilize Route 28 rather than traveling through the local roads within the development. Also, the board will be meeting this Monday, the 30th at 7 p.m. to hear a continuation of the application for the Raritan Orlando Drive Associates. This is an open meeting and all residents are welcomed and encouraged to attend. Any questions anyone may have regarding this application, this would be the venue to bring those questions so that you may have your questions properly answered by the professionals. Under wastewater management, there's going to be a roundtable meeting for all Somerset County municipalities regarding the proposed NJDEP water quality management planning rules. Everyone is encouraged, all municipal officials, planning board committees, to discuss the new rules that are going into effect for the WQMP. Under police, there were 116 moving violations, 1,111 general calls, 20 fire calls. I'm going to grab Paul Rick's overtime. I have the overtime report for them. There were 25.50 hours of overtime last month. And that is all, other than I hope everyone has a safe and happy and healthy Thanksgiving. That is all from me, Mayor.
Both the Basilone and Historic were on the same day. Unfortunately, I had a doctor's appointment, so I was not able to make either one of those meetings. So I don't have anything to give you at this time.
Mayor, the Environmental Commission met last week, and they've decided that next year they're moving their meetings to Thursday, the third Thursday of the month instead of the third Wednesday of the month. And that's to facilitate making sure we have a quorum and make it working for everyone on the commission. And since Thursday night was open, that's what they moved to do. Regarding the schools, I know that the teachers are still haven't resolved the contract situation with the teachers yet. They've met several times since February, and no settlement has been reached. the board. If you want to see any updates, you can go to the district website, brsd.k12.nj.us, and they do have updates on that. They continue the search for a superintendent, and I discovered that it is a no-fee search, including expenses, that will be conducted by Hazard Young, Attia and Associates per their original contract. The board agreed to a New Jersey search with the addition of any advertising beyond New Jersey that the firm can solicit at no cost to the board. Also, Panther football, they defeated Ridge in the state semifinal on Friday, and they are now 11-0. They're led by head coach Scott Bray. Like I previously said, was one of the best high school football coaches we ever had. I changed it to say probably the best high school football coach we've ever had. I can remember times when we were just praying for a 500 season, let alone 11-0. They will play Westfield in the finals on Thursday, December 3rd, 8 p.m., and it's going to be at MetLife Stadium. That's where they have all the finals for the various districts. And that's all I have there. And also, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and a successful Black Friday if you're so inclined to go out and go shopping.
What time is that game?
8 p.m., December 3rd.
Is it going to be broadcast? New Jersey Network?
They're not sure.
Bios
yet.
Network.
I mean, it's gonna probably be on MSG Varsity, I would guess,
Okay.
but they haven't figured that
Well,
all
yeah,
out yet.
501, Channel 1. they do-
Channel 1,
yeah,
they do a lot of the high
do
school, big high school games.
Yeah, there are 2 games that night. There's another game at 5 o'clock.
Very good.
Is it free?
No.
They
No.
charge it? What do they charge?
It's $9 for adults, $3 for seniors and students.
Not bad.
No, not bad. I wish them luck.
But $8 for a 12-ounce beer.
They probably won't be able to legally
They
sell
don't
those.
sell beer.
Okay.
Since it's not high school.
Then it'd be $8 for a soda or a hot dog.
$12.50 for a hot dog. Good stuff like that. I'd like to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, and I also want to send my thanks out to the Somerville, Bradley Gardens, and Beverly Hills Fire Departments for responding to Saturday night structure fire on Somerset Street. It really turned out to be nothing. I was over there yesterday and I saw the damage, but when you have a structure on Somerset Street and it's called in as a house fire, and you've got houses so close together, it's better to be safe than sorry, so good for them. And interestingly enough, I received a phone call last week, or yeah, I guess it was last week, from one of my very good friends who happens to be on the Freeholder Board. And this individual was also a mayor at one time. I'm not going to say who it was because there's a number of individuals on the board that are mayors. But they were quite taken aback by the fact that two of our sitting council people and our mayor-elect appeared at the Freeholder meeting and spoke during the public comment time about the Orlando Drive project. And they were very confused about exactly what was going on with this whole situation. And they thought it was one thing, but actually it turned out to be something else. And I know that Freeholder Calaguire said that they looked into it, and that's as far as it got. So I was under the assumption that this was a private meeting, when actually it really hadn't been. It had been simply a gesture at a Freeholder meeting. So I just wanted to make that clear to people who are listening and to the applicant for the project. And the other thing that I just opened this evening is something from Middle Earth that I was discussing with Lieutenant Molina about a program called Station House Adjustment Program for the youth in Somerset County. And essentially what they're asking for is a contribution of $2,500 from Raritan to help avoid risky behavior. And apparently what happens, we set 5 youths were referred to the program this year. As of the end of October 2015, they served 102 youths in Somerset County. And from what Lieutenant told me, this is a program where Middle Earth oversees their sort of like community service.
Community service, yes.
so that our police department doesn't have to do that, and it apparently has helped them be accountable for their actions, learn the value of community service, engage with adults who can help them, set them on the right path, and most importantly, avoid further delinquent behavior. So apparently this is working, and Middle Earth is doing a very good job, so.
We've even gotten volunteers from Middle Earth for the bicycle race, and
Right.
so they are in the community.
They're basically good kids, but they need a little direction and a little adult support from time to time.
Like me when I was a youngster.
Do we make a donation to them, Mayor?
Yes, we do, I think we do, don't we, Gail? We don't? Does the police department make it? They're asking for $2,500 from the borough, so I'm gonna pass this on to you, that maybe you wanna put this in the budget for next year.
Question, the only question is not to be negative, because I'm familiar with them from community development.
Right.
But, number one is, can you statutorily do it, and number two is, where do you stop? If
Right.
you give it to them,
Our attorney is shaking his
Those
head,
are
no,
questions.
statutorily we can't do it. So-
Constitutionally, you can.
Constitutionally we can't do it, all right, okay. So we will communicate with them about that. And as Councilwoman Guerra said, the Municipal Land Use Board will be meeting on Monday night. They usually meet on Wednesday nights, so it's Monday night this time. And I'm going to address this to Councilman Lobel, because you're the liaison to Recreation, but you may not know anything about this. I was grocery shopping the other day, and of course, people love to attack you when you're in the grocery store. Oh, I have a question to ask. I don't want to bother you, but I have a question to ask you. And this person was very upset because apparently there is a rumor going around somewhere that, and maybe Zach, you can speak to this too, that the mayor-elect and a sitting council person are planning on dissolving the rec committee after the first of the year.
I think that's a rumor.
It's just a rumor.
I've heard that too, but I really don't think that's,
All right.
I
that's
haven't
what
heard anything from the mayor-elect, I haven't heard anything from Zach or.
It's just a.
I'm sorry, what was the rumor, Mayor? I didn't hear.
If the rumor was that after the first of the year, the Recreation Commission would be dissolved.
I absolutely would think that's not the case.
That's not the case. I
No,
don't think
it's a
so.
rumor.
I didn't think so.
Lots of rumors flying around.
Lots of rumors flying around, yes, lots of rumors.
Most of them false.
Okay. All right, moving on, we have, old business, library state grant.
Right, I was hoping to make an award tonight of the grant balance from the state. The state wants to review any expenditures between when we last put in for reimbursement. They've been very nice. The architect, myself, and the state, and Karen Newsey, have been working on this, so that we think by the December 15th meeting, it has to be by the December 15th, we're to make the award, and the state will accept it.
Okay.
Great.
That's what we're working.
Okay.
So we've been working on this for a few months now. I would have thought we could have awarded it tonight, but that's my goal.
What exactly is this, Dan?
It's a railing, and I think, Stan, you know this, they want to put a railing in the back and do some
So this
concrete.
is a specific grant just for that?
Yes.
It was for a variety of
It was for the
improvements.
ramp.
The ramp and the
And
But
railing.
the balance left, and we don't want to expend it. There was a number of improvements.
How much is left? What's the balance?
The balance, $34,000.
Spend it.
We're gonna see how much when we get quotes, we're gonna see how much we can
Well, the
spend.
quotes were over the 34 last,
Originally.
and now we're paring it back.
They were more, and we think we can get it
We
down
can get it
Okay.
down.
and satisfy the state.
Okay,
I have an old business issue.
you do.
What's the word on that street light on Anderson and Somerset?
Oh, yes. It's
I haven't
still out.
I've not done anything official from public service. I've notified them twice.
We need to stop using email and start using the telephone and,
I could, just,
because this is a year now. I think.
Call Eileen Leahy and ask her what's going on.
She's retired.
She's retired?
And
Oh.
that's why I say Sharon Balmeo, because she's the one who's taking her.
Because I still get emails from Eileen Leahy.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, very good. New business.
Wait a second, on old business. Over here, when you pull out of the parking lot, To the right is a Verizon box that was hit
Mhm.
when they were redoing Church Street. It's still tethered together. That is still yet to be repaired.
Well, I think they did, I think they put duct tape on it.
No, it's bungee.
No, I think they did.
I thought
It's
they
bungee.
corrected
No,
that.
it's
Still
Duct
bungee.
tape is the bacon over
No.
there.
Can,
Is the duct tape in place.
and right now with the weather coming, the winter weather coming in, someone needs to come and address that box.
I think it needs a whole new box,
Yeah,
because
it
it was
does.
hit by the pavers.
Yeah,
It was hit pretty hard.
I don't know where that claim ever went with that,
my concern is a lot of times the kids will come by and they mess with it, they play with the
Right,
cord, with the
right,
bungees
right.
and stuff. The box does need to be replaced. We have contacted them repeatedly on this.
Oh, and another piece of old business, the photograph that we did about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, is going up. Maggie's gonna take it over and have it framed, so it will be up for the next meeting. Okay, new business, date for the 2016 reorganization meeting.
Right, so any information you can give us, as we're doing the, I mean, I realize it's November 20th, I understand that, but, you know, as we're putting together a lot, there's a lot for reorganization. Any more information you supply us with, it makes it easier for Maggie, Andy, quite frankly, and
Well,
myself.
historically, we've always done it on the first
Um,
Sunday of
You can do it
January,
the
so-
first January, you can do it the first Sunday, you can do it on the first, you can do it within the first, what, the 7 days?
first
Or
9
is
days.
that-
Within the first 7 days.
I mean,
7
if you
days.
wanna do something different, you can do it at 4 on it, you don't have to, I'm not pushing anything, just anything you can.
Say do it on the 3rd.
I did speak with Chuck, he said he wants to do it the Sunday at 12, January 3rd.
January 3rd, does everyone,
That's fine.
that seems to be, you wanna talk it again, or you wanna talk about it again, I don't.
I have no problem.
Well, you know, we're the only ones that do it on a Sunday in the county. The only one that I know that does it on the weekend other than us is Manville, they do it on a Saturday. Everybody else does it during the week. It's less of a stress on you guys because you work, you don't have to come back in. It's Sunday, it's church, it's family, it's football. You know, it just, everybody else does it the smart way and we do it on a Sunday. I mean, it just puts everybody out. It's just a changing
wanna
of the
discuss
guard.
it
It's,
with-
it's not a,
You wanna discuss it with Chuck? I'm not trying to,
Yeah,
I'm not trying to
let me
be bad,
discuss-
I'm just, you know, I'm just
let
trying.
me discuss it with Chuck.
Okay.
All right, and the other thing you had on the agenda, Dan, was the format for the council meetings?
Yes, one of the resolutions in reorganization is going to be this, what we've been doing for a few years, which is agenda and regular.
You mean
I-
executive?
Well, executive 6:30, I think we wanted to keep, but then there was, you have it at full agenda meetings or workshops, whatever you want, and then the second would be for the regular, and I want to know whether you wanted to recombine them or not. There's advantages to doing that, in that you don't have to wait a full three weeks or more if you want to either have a discussion item or an action item. The original thinking was, I think, that we could maybe concentrate on a lot of things, and if I'm wrong, I'm just trying to go backwards and think this. And Jim, in fact, Jim and I had a little conversation about this recently too. That if you have all of the workshops in at once, you wouldn't be so rushed to go into the regular meeting. But the thinking is, if you could have the workshop and regular meeting at 7, and then just go forward, there's no split between the two, that it might work better, that council people can then not have to worry about whether they want either an action, something for action, or for discussion. I always felt having agenda meetings or workshop meetings and regular meetings could work if you have 4 meetings a month, which is unnecessary. If you have, you know, agenda, regular, agenda, regular. But that if you have 2 per month, my own preference is to say combine them so that you could take either action or discussion. Say have that at 7.
So in other words, what you're saying is that you want to go back to the way you used to do it years
Yes,
ago.
with one exception, which is there would be no defined time for you know.
So one would just meld into the
One
other.
would meld into the other, which is essentially what we did, but as Jim has pointed out, sometimes there would be a rush to finish up a discussion item because you had the regular at a certain time, let's say it's 7. Let's say you had your agenda at 6 and you were regular at 7. If something required a lot of discussion, there might be this, hey, wait a minute, we're meeting at 7, that sort of convolutes the process of discussion. But I think the way we've been doing it, if you have 6:30 for executive, then at 7 you have agenda and regular, and you just meld them into one, it could work that way. And then you do that with every single meeting.
Could
But
you
count-
then pay bills twice a month?
You could pay it, well, if you wanted to, nothing would prevent you from doing it once a month. And
Well,
that's
I would like to see that, because I've had a lot of complaints, especially the smaller vendors that go out of their way. It seems like they're the ones that aren't getting,
Yeah, but
and they
Greg-
gotta wait a full
Greg-
month.
Greg,
Why
but
don't
if the council-
we
if
just
the
go back
mayor-elect
the way it
was here,
was, and just have 2
yeah,
regular
if
meetings
the
a month?
mayor-elect was here, you really should,
Just like we
he
got,
should be
that
here to ask
function,
these
it was
questions.
fine, we don't need the workshop.
Well, this is something.
Well,
that
that's
you
what
don't
I'm
have to-
saying.
We're not
Really
overburdened with
call.
discussions
I'm
about
asking for
this stuff.
direction only because we want to change that
Can you have a
resolution.
conversation with Chuck about this?
Why don't you do that?
Yes.
That's who you need to talk to.
But it's, as I said before, anything we can get in the resolution, if you make by the 15th, just so that as we're typing. December is a very busy month, not to make an excuse, it really is, it's time,
very
it's the
time-consuming.
beginning of it's the end of the year, plus it's the beginning for us, and it's like everything converges.
Well, realistically, shouldn't the new people coming in January have a say in how they want their meetings run for the next year?
Yes.
So why are we making this
Why
a
are we-
decision?
yeah, it would be easier.
Well,
for
I'm
the
saying you
mayor to
only
that
have one more
conversation,
meeting,
Dan.
and some of you will be here, 3 of you
Well, why
actually,
don't
and
you,
4 with
why don't you
Andy.
pick up the phone, excuse me, and call and find out what their preference is? Zach, what would you like to do?
That's what I'm
Why don't we
asking.
just do that? That's the smart way to
Yeah.
do it.
Because at rework, we have to present a resolution on our calendar.
Right.
Well, I'd be happy to-
But if half the
And
council
advertise
is
your
gonna do
feedback.
it,
can go to
Advertise,
order.
we could put forth one and then amend it at a later.
Yeah, but
Well,
Dan,
You still have to
Dan,
have a guide.
they're the ones that are gonna sit here. You have an incoming mayor. He's not here to tell you his preference. You have another incoming council, she's not
Okay,
here.
all I'm saying is, we
It's
have
a
one more
fairness to
meeting
them.
before reorganization, and I'd rather bring it up early than to wait on the 15th and say, well, you know what, we don't have everybody here, and then before you know it, no decision is made by reorganization.
well, we've already had some discussions about a calendar for next year because we're gonna have different people up here next year. And as far as I know, that was okay, Denise? So Denise should be able to give you the calendar that the new people plus the existing want, and just use that. I mean, we're making a complicated deal out of something that's simple,
All right,
right?
We're just asking for
we're
guidance.
just asking for guidance to make it.
Well, I don't know who you're asking for guidance from.
Well,
No. Well, I mean, Zach is here, Denise is here, Andy happened not to be here, Jim is here.
We just
All
wanted-
of you are gonna be in
We just want to bring
reorganization.
up the topic that we need the information.
I thought that was already relayed, I'm sorry. Not the relayed, no?
No.
well, let me ask you this, I think one of the reasons we went to 2 separate meetings was to allow more time for discussion and workshop. Now, the problem with having only 1 workshop session a month, sometimes that gets to be a big schedule. Sometimes we may have 16, 17 items on there. If we go back to the regular schedule, would that be reduced then? In other words, that would be split up?
should.
Theoretically, that'll be cut in half then. So
Yes.
you're going to have, if you go back to regular meetings, you're going to have a shorter workshop because you're going to have less items.
So
Because you have
what's
2
wrong with
meetings to address.
Right,
So what's wrong with that?
that's the way I see it.
That's the way you
And
say it.
council
I
wouldn't-
remember meetings before, when we had the one session and the workshop, the agenda items were like 15 and 16 long, because we've had some agenda items that should have been 15 and 16 items long. So it's up to you, it's your call.
My concern always when we went to the newer system was that, let's say 2 days after a workshop meeting, the council person wanted to talk about something, they would have to put it under old business or new business. Now they know if I have something that I think requires action or I think requires discussion, it's every single meeting they can request.
Dan, we'll give you everybody that's going forward's thoughts, and then
Good enough.
that seems to be the consensus up here, so.
So we'll be able to make a decision
We're overcomplicating this.
on the 15th, on the next meeting.
Yes.
We'll definitely make a decision on that night.
It would help, it would help, it would help.
And also if we could change the cutoff for agenda items till Monday. This-
That's,
This Thursday is.
it's up to the council, but I'm gonna advise against it.
Mhm.
And I just think that, it's logical to assume that that's a good way, but the fact of the matter is, and if particularly if you're a mayor, if you're around Borough Hall quite a bit, so much goes on, and it's so fluid that sometimes things come up later Monday or Tuesday, and you just can't help it. And if you have a very, I mean, I don't like the fact that so much sometimes gets put at the last minute, but I would prefer.
Can I just say that the issue with having agenda items ready is because I'm required to post an agenda 48 hours in advance. So the agenda is required to be posted by Friday afternoon. So after the initial agenda is posted, it can be revised, but it can't be totally revamped per se. So that's why we ask for agenda items prior to Friday, Friday at noon should really, I could stretch it to Friday at noon.
I feel that any council person, Denise, I'm not singling you out, any council person who advised that to me, I would say, you know what, this is gonna come back to bite me, because so often Monday comes and you say, we have to get that on, and they say, well, I'm sorry, I have a deadline of Friday. I don't care, it's got to go on. All of you have had that experience, even on a Tuesday morning. No, this has to go on, I don't care what your rule is. So you're gonna break the rule, in my opinion. But you can set it, and then we're gonna be into the position of enforcing it, and I guarantee it's gonna be non-enforceable.
Well, if you got a 48-hour criteria, then obviously, I don't think you can do that, because it'd be cutting it too short.
All right, we come to the second portion of public comment. Anyone wishing to be heard? Seeing no one, we'll close the second portion of public comment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned.
All right, I gotta